We made this. Hello, Mark, says Fraser. Now, Mark, I hear we have a sweet podcast. Some have even called it the sweet podcast of Fraser and Mark.
What?
And that podcast is the Right in the Childhood podcast. And that's what you're listening to right now. As you can tell, it's my turn to pick a TV show. And on the Right in the Childhood podcast, we explore children's TV from our respective childhoods. Now, Mark, you're Gen X / Millennial. And
Yes.
Millennial / Gen Z. So we sort of span across 3 different generations.
We do.
And, you know, we take it in turns every fortnightly to bring a TV show back from our childhood. And most of the time, in fact, all the time it's been so far, we introduce it to the new person and we get to have a look at it with better nostalgia goggles on, but also trying to look at it, you know, as, we won't say a full grown-up, but a bit more grown-up and see if there's anything that hits us right in the childhood in a good or bad way.
Well, growing old is compulsory. Growing up is not. And both of us live by this mantra, and I just do a more slick intro to my episodes.
Can I not be old or grow up? Is that an option?
Well,
not to grow old or up?
No, unfortunately.
Well, then
Just because you look 12 doesn't mean you're 12 anymore.
That is optional.
For you. You don't look your age, I bloody do.
Yeah.
So sweet life of Zack and Cody. Tell me about it.
Yeah, is that what you got from the intro? A sweet pod of Fraser and Mark.
I
Sorry, I can put your name first if you want.
No, okay.
Mark's closer to Zack, innit? They've both got A's and K's in.
Well, yes, but
Cody's
what?
nothing like Fraser. But anyway, yeah, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. It's the second live-action Disney show I'm bringing to you. Sorry, it's not Lizzie McGuire.
I know, we were supposed to do Lizzie McGuire as like our second episode.
It will happen eventually. This has got blonde people in it.
Right, okay.
It's got blonde leads in, and
Right.
that's probably where the similarities
Your
end.
obsession with Disney fascinates me.
Well,
I had no access to the Disney Channel as a kid. It was this mythical thing that only the very richest of kids had.
Well, this is a thing as well. Like, we talked about it a bit in the last episode from 2 weeks ago, where it's like, you know, cable TV started to get more affordable. But also, its influence sort of came into the, like, regular channels. Like, I remember growing up, the minimum we had was 5 channels. Then there was Freeview, and then there was, like, you know, your Virgin Medias and your Skies. I remember before it was Virgin Media, it was NTL.
Yeah.
But, like, ITV and BBC would still show, like, Disney's and Nickelodeon stuff, and I think that's where my first introduction to them came. Like, I remember ITV having, like, a Disney club on a Saturday, so this is where, like, most of the Disney shows came in for me. I feel like, especially, like, Lizzie McGuire, but I feel like by the time Zack and Cody came out, I feel that's when we did have the Disney Channel, and, like, these shows were my introduction to it, and it was always a go-to, and it was a safe choice for me and my sister. Like, I was into my stuff, she was into hers, but the common ground we had was Disney. Now, you're going to find out that there were shows that we watched together on the Disney Channel, which I wish we didn't watch repeatedly, and once was enough. And yes, they are going to be a part of this crossover and this podcast.
So, yeah.
But
I look forward to those.
Sweet Life of Zack and Cody is not one of them. Sweet Life of Zack and Cody is one I really enjoyed. It had a sequel, Sweet Life on Deck, which, don't worry, is also going to be on the podcast. Cause
I hope I like this then.
It's important. Yeah, you're gonna be getting a lot of this. But the show was basically these 2 twins, Zack and Cody, played by Cole and Dylan Sprouse. You'll know them if you're a Friends fan or if you're a Adam Sandler movie fan, because they were the kids in Friends, so they played Ben. Because usually when there's a kid, they have twins so they can share, you know, sort of like filming times. And he was also in Big Daddy, which was a big childhood film of mine. I used to watch that film all the time.
Is he an adult actor now, or has he stopped?
They both are, and they do more like art sort of films now. Cole Sprouse is actually on Riverdale as Jughead.
Oh, okay.
So that's where like a lot of people like it's cool because a lot of fans for that are like, oh, I saw you grow up and now you're like there,
Right.
and their crushes continued on.
Yeah, I think I've mentioned that before about
Naturally.
Dominic Monaghan. I fancied him since I was 12 and he was 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like these two, speaking of people who don't look their age, Jughead is technically a teenager in that, and you know, Cole and Dylan, because they're twins, are both pushing close to 30. And but yeah, they've had great careers before and after this. But this was sort of like their starship show. It's like Disney seemed to have like when they were casting their mains for these shows, picked very strong talent. It's like we had Raven last time around, Raven Simone, and like she'd done stuff before with Disney and without Disney, but she was able to lead a show. And same with these two, they've proven, okay, they've been on these high-end productions of Friends and Big Daddy, and now they're going to lead their own show. And they were, and then of course they got the sequel afterwards, and they were very funny. It's the whole, so it's the brother dynamic again. One of them's the nerdy one of them's the like quote unquote funny one. Like I wouldn't really say sporty one in this case, but like they're different.
Yeah,
they're different but the same, and they're together.
Because I enjoyed the last one you gave me so much.
Yeah, the sweet life part of it is sweet is actually spelt like the hotel suite because they live in a hotel. So they have a sweet life. Their mum, I believe her name's Carrie, is a singer for the hotel, the Tipton Hotel.
Tipton?
Yeah, owned by Mr. Tipton, whose daughter, London Tipton, is always there. She's a recurring character. Can you guess who London Tipton was based off?
No.
So you've got the capital of England, London. There's also
Paris Hilton.
Paris Hilton, yeah.
Right.
So there's a little play on that. Yeah, she plays the character which I think you're gonna hate probably the most, of like the ditzy airhead. And then also there's Maddie, who's like who works there. She's also the same age as London, and she's sort of like the smart one. She's played by Ashley Tisdale, who was in High School Musical. She was she's in Phineas and Ferb, which is going to appear in that. So Ashley Tisdale's going to play a big part in this podcast.
You're just naming things I haven't watched, Fraser.
This is for the audience, though. It's not always for you, mate. It's for everyone.
It's for our many, many fans.
Exactly. They're going, if they don't mention everything these characters have been in, I'm going to shake my fist. And it's also just showing how vivid my memories were of the show.
That's true. Your memories tend to be so much more vivid than mine, whereas mine are quite vague in a lot of cases. You seem to remember them like you watched them last week.
Yeah, I mean, I would have done, but we do stop ourselves from doing that on the podcast. I've had to stop myself many a times from doing that, going, oh, no, that's probably something I'd watch on the show. Now, the interesting thing they did with London and Maddie, Ashley Tisdale and Brenda Song's characters, is they switched stereotypes around. So usually the blonde character is like, ditzy dumb blonde, and the sort of like Asian character is seen as like super smart. So they switched that around. I don't know whether it was an intentional thing or just like a little thing. That's something in my brain that's always stuck around of like, oh, okay, that's because there were so many. There's the archetypes for these in sitcom and especially in like Disney and Nickelodeon sitcoms of like, there's the archetype characters. Yeah. Like we see them all throughout. We saw it with Chelsea last time in That's So Raven. But it's nice that we've got the archetypes, but let's see if we can play with them ever so slightly. Yeah, okay. Ever so slightly. This show also had a lot of cool cameos. And one of the episodes we're going to do today is going to have a cool cameo in. I've decided to do 3 episodes, 1 from each season, because I had 3 seasons.
Oh, I hope I like it if we're watching 3.
They're short, they're like 20 minutes.
Oh, alright.
Like, they're like really quick. And you're not going to like this. Actually, no. I'll throw it to you.
Right.
Season 1, there is an episode I want to watch, but I know you do like your pilots.
Pilots?
So, no, wait. I've got to give you the options. I'll read the 2 out for you. We've got the pilot from season 1.
Right.
Or we've got this other episode, which I feel like you're going to like more. And I feel like this is the one you should go for.
Go on,
I don't know whether you will. Okay, are you ready? So the pilot's hotel hangout. Oh yeah.
Cool. Established that they move into a hotel.
Yeah, they meet their friends. Yeah, so all that stuff. Of course, And the episode that I want to do is called A Prom Story. Now, it's episode 8 of season 1, so it's still sort of establishing stuff. And it's Maddie wants to get her prom moved to the Tipton, and London sort of helps her with that. But there's also, like, a cute little moment between, like, Maddie and Zack, and it's that whole thing of, like... I think I have a weakness for this kind of story because I've seen it done before with, like, Peter Parker and Betty Brant, where it's, like, the younger one thinks that older's, like, asking them out for something and they're not. And, like, Maddie's, like, wants to take a boy out to a date and Zack confuses it for him, and there's, like, a cute little moment there. There's also some, like, humour that, like, some cute humour as well. Now, Hotel Hangout is, again, one we could do. It's Zack and Cody meet their friends, Max and Tapeworm. I tell you what, I'm easy with either one of the two, so it depends.
I want to watch the pilot, Fraser.
Right, okay. Just so the audience know, there was the option to watch something else. The second one we watch is from season 2. Is going to have a cameo in.
Okay.
And that's all I'm going to say.
Someone I'll like.
Someone you'll know.
Okay.
Or if you don't know, I will get you to take a pop culture class because it would be terrible if you didn't.
My knowledge of pop culture is weird as fuck.
Yeah.
I have got in-depth knowledge of weird, obscure shit, and then I've never seen anything with Miley Cyrus in.
Right, do you get the reference? Will you get the reference for the season 3's episode?
Go on then.
Lip syncing in the rain.
One assumes that's a reference to RuPaul's Drag Race.
No. Singing in the rain.
You said lip syncing in the rain.
Yeah, it's just a reference to singing in the rain.
Oh, I assumed it was some
You
kind
overshot there.
I assumed it was some kind of RuPaul reference.
No, but what it is, the episode is Maddie and London School are doing a production of High School Musical.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Which is hilarious because Ashley Tisdale plays Sharpay and Maddie and London both auditioned for Sharpay.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely hilarious. I'm already guffawing.
That is my little dig for you making us watch what you thought was a horror, which is already a bad move, but then ended up being something really boring.
I think I'm going to be as bored with this as you were with Chimera.
I think season 1 and season 2 you might be fine with, but yeah, season 3, suffer. And I'm going to sing along.
Oh,
I'm going to sing High School
wept.
Musical. Yeah.
I suppose I deserve it.
Yeah, you'll think twice before trying to do horror.
No, I won't.
And boring stuff.
I didn't know it was boring, did I?
No, to be fair,
You're
that wasn't
right.
your
You
fault.
have such an advantage over me. Your memories are more recent than mine when it comes to your telly shows. I'm going off feelings, whereas you're going off feelings.
These are feelings too.
Well, yeah, but with a little bit of kind of
Closer feelings.
Yeah, and critical knowledge. You've done a fucking film degree, and I've spent 20 years watching stuff.
I'll be honest. My film and TV degree has nothing to do with Zack and Cody.
No, perhaps not.
I mean, if I could have done an essay on Disney, trust me, I would have.
I'm surprised you didn't.
No, I did one on Star Wars and Jim Carrey.
Again, I'm not surprised by that.
Oh, and Kevin Smith, and they were like the closest I could get away with stuff. But no, I would have loved to do. I'd do a dissertation on Disney.
Well, you say
oh no, that might be the final straw because if you do study it too much,
You say that. I did my dissertation on science fiction. Yeah, I really enjoyed that, but I'm really worried that this is going to be wretched, Fraser.
You liked That's So Raven, though. You liked the first episode of it.
Was I this worried about That's So Raven, though?
No. But to be fair, I distracted you with the True Colours episode.
True, which was excellent.
And trust me, when we do the next show we do, I know you'll hate, because I hated it as well.
Okay.
But I will find a distraction for you in that. Does that sound better? To put you at ease? I feel like that's the best thing to do, is give you a bit of a distraction.
Right, okay.
I think you'll like my distraction for the next show.
Alright.
Well, let me find a distraction for you for this show. Cameo. Just think of who the cameo could be.
John Cena.
I mean, I might have to check, but I do believe he did cameo in a Zack and Cody episode.
Seriously?
But it's not it now. No! He cameoed in... Oh my goodness, no. Okay. I think I might have changed the episodes we're watching for the next one.
Okay.
He cameoed in the next show we're doing.
Okay, right.
Definitely.
Are you sure we can see him?
Oh, I don't know.
See. There's a wrestling joke for
That's
you.
a good fit. Right, with John Cena. Oh, he's a meme now.
Is he?
Yeah, he's come into pop
Yes,
culture.
but I don't.
You don't know
do
pop culture.
memes.
Yeah.
I do know pop culture, just good pop culture from the 90s and the...
We'll do an update class, don't worry.
I don't want your update class. Everything's wretched.
Pop culture class, memes 101.
I don't want to know about memes.
So, this is my question with John Cena.
When
When he plays someone else, can you see him? Because then he's not John Cena.
That's true.
We did have the trouble with the Ninja Turtles because he voiced the character. And that was
did.
very sneaky of Mr. Cena.
Yeah, so we didn't see him.
Yeah, no.
No.
It's a good question to ask, though. When he's in the Suicide Squad, we'll probably be able to see him. He's a big Peacemaker, not
That's true.
John Cena, although he will have a disguise on.
That's true. What are we blithering about?
I don't know.
Right.
Do you want to go to the Tipton Hotel?
No.
Oh, come on, mate. We can ride. You know the things that carry your luggage? Do you want to ride on one of them? Right.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie to you, to all of you. I do that now at every hotel I've been to. Do you know what I'm talking about? The things that you hold on to. You'll see them on
the bellboy has.
Yeah, and you put your suitcases on.
Yeah.
So in Zack and Cody, they rode on them all the time.
Right.
So now, as a fully grown humanoid, I do the same thing.
Of course you do. I bet you still like run with the trolley in the
Oh,
supermarket.
don't. And then you do the little jump. And it feels like you're flying.
I don't anymore.
Did you not do the jump?
No, I'm 42.
Did you do the run?
No, I'm 42.
Is that because your knees are bad?
You're such a dick. My knees are fine. It's my back that's the problem.
Oh, is it? Does your back go when you start running? Oh,
No,
no,
it
the
doesn't
trolley. The trolley, I can't do it.
You're such a dick.
There is the thing, when I go shopping now, I do tend to get a basket, so I stop myself from doing that. Did you ever have the thing with your siblings where you would argue over who gets the trolley?
Yes.
Yeah. It was so much fun, though.
Yes.
Oh, no, and then you'd have to pull a proper strop when they had it.
Yeah,
Oh.
I only had one sibling, so we just had a
Yeah,
fight.
all the time. But this is what we're going to have on this show. It's siblings. Come on. Picture that Zack and Cody are you and your brother.
Right, okay.
It could. Or picture one of them's me and one of them's you.
No.
Whatever makes it easier for you.
Right, let's watch this. I hope
Yeah.
it's not cack.
Right, we're going to the Tipton. I hope they do late checkout. Thank you for listening to Right in the Childhood. We've been overwhelmed by the love and support we've received from our listeners. If you're enjoying the show, you can buy us a coffee via our coffee website. That is coffee.com/Right in the Childhood. ko-fi.com/Right in the Childhood. There's no subscriptions or anything like that, so just buy us a coffee if you fancy. We do this for the love, but it's always good to get brought a drink. P.S. Neither of us actually enjoy coffee, we'll probably spend it on a vegan table. We have checked out from the Tipton Hotel and from our time watching The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. So we watched the pilot from season 1, we watched the first episode of season 2, Odd Couples, and we watched episode 9 of season 3, Lip Syncing in the Rain. I feel like this is a new thing I'm going to try for the podcast.
Oh,
I'm going to give like episode sort of rundowns of each one.
Right.
Because then sometimes you just sort of go off on them and it's hard to pick.
Don't change the format.
Oh, this is me being organised. So in the pilot, we meet Zack and Cody, who
Yeah.
live at the hotel. We meet their mum, Carrie. We meet Mr. Mosby. We meet Esteban. We don't meet Arwen. In none of these episodes we meet Arwen, who was he was maintenance and almost a love interest for Carrie. And we also don't meet Muriel, but we do meet London Tipton.
We do.
And Maddie, who play a big part in all 3 episodes. And I'll be honest, I was very surprised of your reception. I knew you'd like Maddie, but like your reception of the 2 was very... But we'll get into that. So in the pilot, we meet all the characters. We also meet what will become friends of Zack and Cody, Max and Tapeworm. Tapeworm does not appear as much as Max. I remember having a massive crush on Max She is a tomboy and a very good dancer. And I remember it feels weird watching it now because she's very young in this, but she's actually like.
Well, yeah, but you were young.
Yeah,
then,
yeah, and
so
now like I
presume
still follow the actor on Instagram.
Yeah,
and she's still up to dancing.
And she's still pretty. Do you still fancy her?
Yeah, I think she's a lesbian now.
That's okay. You just can't snuggle her.
No, or maybe we could snuggle. We'd have to work it out. But in that episode, you know, Zack and Cody are making new friends at the school. The popular Drew crew find out they live in a hotel, want to hang out with him, sort of spoil the fun, ruin the hotel, and then they find the value in friendship in Max and Tapeworm, who stick with him through thick and thin. In The Odd Couples, we get a cameo from Zac Efron. You knew who he was?
You were surprised I knew who Zac Efron was. I'm not that completely culturally ignorant.
I know, but there are.
I haven't seen High School Musical, but I know who he is.
Yeah, that's what my hope was. I was like, he's a big star now. Surely he should.
I've seen Baywatch.
Yeah, really.
And what's the one with the circus? He's in that as well.
Oh, The Great Showman.
Yeah, he's in that.
He's well good in that. He also plays that murderer, Ted Bundy.
He's older than you think as well. He's like mid-30s now, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. A lot of these Disney shows, the actors playing him were much old. Well, not much older, but a bit older than
old enough.
Yeah, it's interesting as well when we see throughout the 3 seasons how much every character changes. It's not just the twins. Obviously, they're getting older and going through puberty. You actually see like you can tell they've hit puberty by the time it comes to the sequel show. But every character changes. Even Carrie, their mum's like doing different hairstyles, which I respect. I don't know which out of the 3 was my favourite. The Spike was pretty cool, but I think she's a bit more.
I have no opinion on some woman's hair.
No. And the third one, Lip Syncing in the Rain, was the High School Musical episode where London and Maddie both go for Sharpay. There's a nice little reference to Singing in the Rain because London gets the Sharpay role, but Maddie has to sing for her, so she sings behind the curtain, and that's a reference to a great film musical. Debbie Reynolds, it's amazing. Sorry. I thought these recaps would stop tangents.
Yeah, well, I've realised I haven't seen Singing in the Rain. We should probably rectify that.
I would be down to watch Singing in the Rain and maybe even sing along with you.
I mean, I won't be able to sing because I'm not singing. I don't know the songs.
Well, you know when someone intensely sings a song they know at you and you just sort of have to nod and pretend you hum?
I'll do that.
Happens a lot, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, I could sing every word of the Buffy musical.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Great, there we go.
Once more with feeling.
There's your little recaps. Let us know what you think of us doing recaps before we sort of go into it.
I feel a bit like you've covered it, and thanks for listening to Right in the Childhood. Next time we're doing...
But now it's like our thoughts and feelings on it, on the episodes. They're sort of what the episodes encountered and what were your thoughts and feelings. I noticed that you were laughing at some of London's bits. Now, I thought you would just straight up hate the character and her jokes. I'm guessing you still don't like the character as a person, but her jokes were quite funny.
Oh, no, I was definitely laughing at her because she was dumb.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I'm completely comfortable with laughing at someone because they're not clever.
Yeah.
The jokes were quite simple in as much as this is a girl who isn't clever, she says dumb shit, laugh at her.
Yeah.
But she wasn't mean... And I don't feel like the jokes were particularly cruel. They were just daft.
A lot of them were misunderstandings as well.
Yeah,
like her simplified versions of stuff. And I'll be honest,
props and things like that.
I've had London tips and moments on this podcast.
Well, I do feel like I'm the Maddie to your London.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, I'm down for that.
No, that was an insult. I was being rude, Fraser.
No, I'm down for that. That's fine.
For fuck's sake.
Maddie and London are brilliant. They're a great duo. And I do have, I'll be honest, I have London moments. I have Zack moments where I'll say something daft.
Well, so do I, but...
But what I do like, I think London Tipton is probably one of the best versions of that type of character. We talked about it before, the archetype of the dumb character, or the not as smart character with the smart character friend. It's like what you said, nothing she said was offensive, she wasn't mean in that way, because a lot of those characters can be, and a lot of it wasn't her... Oh, that's just... No one would say that. I could see someone saying some of the stuff she says. Do you know what I mean?
So she was played as ignorant more than anything. She didn't know stuff, and she malapropped, and she got confused over more intellectual things that Maddie was into. And I guess it wasn't mean because in theory she could, if she wanted to, learn shit.
That's true as well. And I think as well,
didn't want to.
it highlights her lifestyle as well. Like, she is, she's she's Paris Hilton.
She's shallow.
She's living in this world where her daddy literally buys everything for her. In the lip syncing in the rain thing, the reason she got Sharpay was because Mr. Mosby essentially bought it for her. The teachers
Mr. Tipton.
Yeah, Mr. Tipton. Did I say Mr. Hilton?
No, you said Mr. Mosby.
Oh, no, Mr. Tipton basically bought her the role.
Yeah.
Because her teacher had this idea of a musical called Floss, and he, Mr. Tipton gave him a budget for that, so that means like, he was coming to visit and stuff like that. And I think that sort of lifestyle of, like, always being catered for, never having to really work for anything, I think that's probably why she is this way. So it's good that they've done an explanation for why she's that way, because often these sitcoms
spoiled,
don't.
And she's shallow. But I do think, again, we've said it before, but I do think it's important to emphasise that she's not shitty.
Yeah.
She's just a bit dopey.
Yeah.
She's not actively cruel like a lot of rich characters are in these things. So
And
there is an element of difference to this character.
There's something beneficial as well about her relationship with Maddie, because they do both sort of learn from one another, and I think that's a very important part. Like, that was a big part of the pilot was, Maddie was learning about boys through London, and London was learning about maths through thingy. And a big part of the sequel, Sweet Life on Deck, is London going to school. Like, we see it more in this show, obviously not the episodes we saw, but London does go to the same school as Maddie, and we sort of see her, develop an education. And then Sweet Life on Deck, again, is her learning more. She is forced to go into a school on a boat because she can't escape that way.
Right,
It's literally the premise of the show.
Wow.
And she doesn't have Maddie there, but she meets a new smart friend.
Oh,
And
no.
I know, Maddie, I guess Ashley Tisdale's star was too big, or she stopped sort of being the acceptable teenage age. I think it was more the first, because Disney stars don't age, do they?
Yeah, well, not with the right makeup.
It's crazy.
So I want to
Mr. Mosby returns though for the sequel, so you've got that.
I want to talk about Maddie.
Yeah.
I feel like I identify with her quite a lot.
Yeah, and I think it's important in these shows to have someone like that.
All her quandaries are mine. She's not portrayed as completely virtuous. She was angry when she didn't get what she was deserved and somebody else got things by money or by influence. And I think that's important, to not have the bright characters as perfect, to not have completely virtuous people, and allow these characters that will influence young people to acknowledge that not only is it okay to not be perfect, it's normal and it's reasonable. So Maddie really did stick out to me as a really important character. I really liked her. I thought they did really well there.
I know we didn't end up doing the episode because I was like, I really want to see the episode with Zack and Maddie, but we sort of saw it in season 3 how much, like, sort of Zack, I can't think of the word, like, admires Maddie. It's one of those things that I feel like this definitely happens. There's that girl who's like either like a babysitter or someone who's older to you, like.
Everyone's got that crush.
But that sort of crush, and sort of sometimes when you're older, like, it does work out, like, maybe like in college or something, you find out after. No, but afterwards.
It's a bit yick, innit?
No, because it would have been like, what, 2, 3, 4 years? That's not too bad. I mean, like, afterwards. Like, when they come back. So you've both gone to college, you've both grown, you come back. And there was always that part of me that was like, oh, maybe them two would eventually. But
Did they ever get there?
When Maddie didn't return in the sequel, I had a feeling Zach probably found someone else, which is a bit sad. Very sad.
Talking about relationships and Maddie, I really liked that she was bright but capable of being shallow. I very much identified with that. The amount of times I've...
Loverboy Lance.
Well, Lance was thick as fuck, but pretty.
Loved his water.
Yeah, he was thick as fuck, but pretty. And the amount of times I've slept with guys because they're pretty and then not wanted to talk to them afterwards. I like that they didn't shy away from the fact that bright people will be shallow when it comes to hot people. And that's cool, and that's... Yeah, I was impressed by that, because normally they kind of make bright people out as completely virtuous, and she wasn't.
And she does get a bit of kissing action in the second episode.
With Zac fucking Efron?
With Odd Couples, yeah. So Zac Efron's character is... I'm trying to remember what London calls it. No, there's a merit scholar sort of meeting group. What does she call it? She could... London tips and mispronounces. It's quite funny.
Malaprop.
He is one of those scholars, and London's trying to impress Zac Efron's character Trevor, I believe, by sounding smart. So they put in like a computer chip and stuff, and they have this great argument because it's like a proper. This is what I love about these sitcoms is they were great at doing like these back and forths that were clever word plays. Like the one line that stuck out for me. So Zac Efron's character Trevor wants to be a politician, but he's one of them that's sort of like
he's a climate change denier.
Yeah. And what did he say? There's like a back and forth about like, oh, I bet you do this, I bet you're a tree hugger. If it's down to you, there'd be no trees. And then he goes, cry me a river. Maddie instantly comes back with, if I did, you'd pollute it. And I was like, bravo.
And then they kissed.
Yeah.
And
they're like, I hate you.
I've been in relationships with people that I hate, but all I wanted to do was fuck them. So, again, I like what they do with Maddie. They seem to be quite bold with her.
Yeah.
That she hates him and his politics, but she still wants to put her tongue down his throat. That's brave.
Yeah, and like they did have some similarities, but then there was a lot of not similarities. But yeah, a lot of High School Musical connections in this.
Well, they have got
a
member of the cast from it in it.
Well, no, she's not the only one. A reoccurring character, I believe, is her character name is either Monique in High School Musical or it's Monique in this. But she appears in both High School Musical and Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
I've not seen High School Musical,
but Sweet Life of Zack and Cody came first. So them two used to work together on that. Then they did High School Musical together, and also Vanessa Hudgens, who plays the other lead in High School Musical, appears in it. And then obviously in the third episode we get, and I was just like, it was nice. This was like a sneaky way of me getting to have High School Musical on the podcast without actually having High School Musical on the podcast.
Do you like High School Musical?
Oh mate, I love it. And you know what I do love as well? The telly show that came out. It's High School Musical, the musical, the TV show. Brilliant bit of TV from
ridiculous.
Oh, it was so ridiculous, but it was great.
I won't be watching that.
Oh no, it's great. Highly recommend if you like High School Musical.
I did observe something, and having seen what was the one with the adopted brothers.
Oh, they weren't adopted, stepbrothers.
Yeah, that
Drake and Josh.
Yeah, and
who do you prefer as a couple, Zack and Cody or Drake and Josh?
Zack and Cody.
Yeah,
twins,
aren't they?
I'm starting to spot a pattern of 20 minutes of gags with a kind of Disney Channel learn a lesson at the end kind of moral.
Yeah.
And that's okay to be formulaic. Kids like formulaic.
It's important to note as well that Drake and Josh was Nickelodeon, this was Disney around the same time.
Yeah,
but like
you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, like kids telly learning thing.
Yeah.
I learnt a lot through these 3 episodes. It's very
good.
A lot about friendship, which is, I think this is why I probably love friendship so much or rely so much on friendship in my life, is because of these shows. Like these shows always bigged up friendship, and then I started watching like shows like Friends and How I Met Your Mother that are all about friendship. So like I really do value friends and relationships in that way. Maybe this show made me asexual. Oh, you know, people,
I don't think so.
You know how people,
you were always asexual.
You know how people say like, oh, this program is making people whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean,
not true.
This is me on a tangent. I watched some of our old stuff not so long ago, like stuff that we recorded 5-6 years ago, and I was making sex gags then, and you were cringing.
Yeah.
You were always asexual, even when you didn't know you were asexual, because you didn't know what asexual really was.
I mean, isn't that the whole thing of sexuality?
Indeed.
Were my gags funny then? I feel like I was probably less tangible.
Tangible isn't a word, but I know what you mean.
There you go. That's a London moment for you.
Well, that was a London moment.
Maybe my ADHD hadn't fully kicked in yet.
That's not how ADHD works.
Or
dyslexia. Or anything else to do with you.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you're an idiot because you're an idiot, not because of all those things.
So I've wrote down a load of characters that appeared in the thing, and I've done a big love heart over Mr. Mosby because I absolutely adore I absolutely adore Phil Lewis as an actor. He's incredible in Scrubs. Hooch is crazy. but he's also, as Mr. Moseby, oh, he's so funny.
A lovable stick in the mud
Yeah.
is a great character, but quite difficult to do
pull
with
off.
sympathy. I compared him, he did a crazy dance, so I compared him to Carlton from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which at the time was quite flippant and lazy. But the more I think about it, that's another lovable stick in the mud character done
Yeah.
well. So maybe my flippant comparison was actually closer
you
to
thought.
reality than me just with a throwaway line.
He gets a lot more play in the sequel. Which
Right.
is very good, and there's a very cute moment between Mr. Moseby and London that I'm going to put on. It's the last episode, and it might make me cry because I watched just the clip like a few years ago.
Right.
Oh my goodness, it's so sad.
I'll give
'Cause
you a hug if you cry,
their
Jay.
relationship.
I got you, brother.
Their relationship gets developed through both of these series. It's so oh
Yeah, he's clearly very fond of London.
Yeah.
And it's done quite subtly and not in an over-egged way.
because it's one of those things. I think it starts off that London, you know, he's his boss's daughter, so there's that sort of thing of caring for London is my job. But then there is that real development, and so he sort of becomes a father figure for London because he's there when her dad's not, and her dad's the perfect sitcom thing. You never see him, always surrounded by security guards, thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah, he's the character that you see off screen, Howard's mum or
Yeah.
whatever from
Yeah,
Big Bang Theory or whatever.
Yeah, whatever that show is.
It's a trope, but
It's a good one.
it works, and it's
And it was
almost
u-
an expected one that people enjoy.
It was
too.
used in WandaVision as well. Like they always tick that box.
So the move from series 1 to series 2.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of observations. In series 1, they had different hairdos and they were children.
Yeah.
In series 2, they had the same hairdo.
Bit longer, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they were young adults. So it became a little bit difficult to tell them apart, which was a problem. I know it's a show about twins. I know.
Did you honestly get... Oh, it gets worse. They are terrible now. Because
Right.
Dylan looks more nerdy than Cole sometimes, and Cole sometimes looks more nerdy than Dylan. So I think if they were to play it now, they might have swapped
I
roles.
can't
a
tell
bit.
Jedward apart, so...
Oh, no.
You know.
I feel like these... Like, when they were kids, I could tell them. Now it's a bit harder.
Right.
Like, I could get them up for you. And it's... So, yeah. So, Dylan Sprouse plays Zac Martin. And Cole Sprouse plays Cody Martin. That's very easy to remember because it's CO and CO.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I think you asked me partway through, didn't you?
I got confused.
That one is... And I went, Cody, yes.
But I didn't get confused in the first one because they had two different hairdos.
Yeah.
And I know it's a horrible thing to say about twins, but they look the fucking same. Give them different hairdos, that'll make it easier.
They do that. They do that in the sequel one. You can sort of tell them
Right.
apart more, and obviously their traits get a bit more heightened, as like the smelly one, the clean freak, and
Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, okay, if we're going to be critical, it was a little bit kind of tropey on the odd couple,
Yeah.
but these ones happen to be twins.
Yeah.
But it's a kid's fucking sitcom.
You
doesn't
You
matter.
can tell that they're actually brothers, though. I feel like that also makes a difference because, like,
Well, yeah, they look the same.
no, but I mean, like, with their relationship on screen, you can sort of see it
True.
more. Like, you could tell that they probably have had an argument like this before in the past. And these guys became a really big star at Disney. I remember the Disney Channel original games. The third season of that, they literally did like sports day with Disney stars. It was
Right,
great
right.
for people like me.
I think you
who are
talked
obsessed
about
with
it
Disney.
before.
Yeah, and them two, I think they came late to it or whatever. They got their own little like segment in it when they were entering this private limo and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my goodness, they're getting this like extra screen time. There's people who were on like all the stuff. Like, it's so interesting seeing the Disney Channel games now and seeing the people on there who have like literally like gone on to like big stardom, like Zac Efron's on there,
Right,
the Jonas
right.
Brothers. It's mental to see more. It's like Selena Gomez, like you're all just, oh, this is mad.
I found myself liking Cody and disliking Zac.
Oh yeah, I caught that as
But is that the norm? Because Zac is the cool kid, right?
yeah, that's the cool kid. Cody's the well. That's the thing. That's the thing I like about this. Neither of them are that cool. Like the first episode highlights that.
One cares and one doesn't.
Yeah.
But the one that cares isn't actually that cool anyway.
No, which I kind of like. I like about that as well is like they're both trying to be cool, but again, they're not. Like
No.
I think the thing with Drake and Josh was he was almost too cool to like sort of be likable in the first episode.
True.
Like in the other episodes, he was getting more likable because it was like, oh, he's less of that dick. I think Drake was the Drew guy we met in the pilot. Like the Drew, that Drew crew just annoyed me and Drew leading the way. But that Drew character reminded me of Drake's in the first episode.
True.
And then in later episodes, Zack reminded more of the good Drake we saw, like the latter episodes where Drake's a bit more developed.
Yeah, I did find when we jumped to series 2
Yeah.
that I immediately missed Max and Tapeworm, and that the other kids that were friends with the boys just weren't as charming or interesting or well fleshed out. And that's a real shame.
They do get more play later. Well, I'd say the Bob, the ginger one, gets more play. The other two, not so much. One of them, interestingly enough, is now on the Goldbergs, is Barry, the big brother. It was so weird seeing him. I heard his voice, went, I recognise that voice from somewhere. And then I was like, that's Barry from the Goldbergs. That's for the listeners, not for you.
I'm sure it comes to no one's surprise that I haven't spent any of my time watching the Goldbergs.
You'd love it. It's all about the 80s.
I mean, I've lived in the 80s. I don't need to watch any.
Yeah, but no, honestly, like some of the tributes they do about the 80s, I think it's on E4 as well. It's dead easy to watch.
Maybe.
Give it a go.
Maybe.
If you got nothing else on.
Maybe.
Unless, you're thinking of watching Shima or whatever we did 2 weeks ago.
Chimera,
that's the one. Somehow, the whole premise of this show is 2 kids living in a hotel.
Yes.
Now, as a kid watching this, all I wanted to do was live in a hotel. And I recently got the opportunity to. And I've got to say, it's great. It is really good.
When did you live in a hotel?
A couple of times. Well, when I was working at Alton Towers, obviously stayed in the hotel.
But
in my year at Kent, at University of Kent, I jumped from Airbnbs and hotels. But yeah, I got to stay at some hostels as well. But when I was feeling particular bougie, or I'd just been paid, I'd go, why not stay in a hotel for a bit? But then there were days where I stayed in someone's car and in someone's tent. And
wow.
Yeah, a bit of variety. But yeah,
you are one of a kind.
I highly recommend The Sweet Life. What would you think of living in a hotel as a child or now?
I've always wanted a bar. It's kind of like a...
Would you call it Puzzles?
What?
It's a How I Met Your Mother reference, I'm sorry.
It's always a How I Met Your Mother reference.
No, I did a Friends one.
Well, I've always wanted a bar. And I think if I owned a bar, I'd want to live above it. But the bar is kind of like the next level down from the other dream, which is owning a cattery.
Yeah.
So I want to own a cattery more. But I think if I lived in a hotel, I'd want to be running it or be a member of staff there. I know people who've done that.
Like Carrie was. Carrie was sort of like the singer, and then she took her kids with her and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a big aim for me.
It could be quite expensive.
Oh, yes. Yes.
It was quite cheap living at the Alton Towers one, but when I was there being not as... It was a big treat. I had to make sure I deserved that treat. It's like, you've been sleeping in a tent and in someone else's car. Stay in a hotel for a day.
The fact that you went to university for a year without having student digs, only you, dear.
Hey, I was studying journalism and it turned out to be a great story.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. It's all relevant. All bring it all together. But yeah, is it time for your top 5? Have you got anything more you want to say?
No, I don't think I do. I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't love it, but I was pleasantly surprised.
So it's top 5 time.
It is.
Top 5 time! You reminded the beautiful listeners.
Yeah, I'll do my list. At number 1, it's Recess. At number 2, SpongeBob SquarePants. Number 3, Lilo and Stitch. Number 4, American Dragon Jake Long. And at number 5, That's So Raven. So this was fun, and I didn't hate it. But
what a compliment. They should use that on.
yeah. It was fun. There was some gags that I actually laughed at, and there was some nice messages, etc., etc., etc. But I think if it was a top 10, it would be at number 6.
Right. I was going to say, if you can say it's the top 10 and it's in the top 10, I mean, of course it is. We've not done 10 shows.
Yeah, we've done, this is the 8th of yours that I've got to look at. And It seems like that's rude, because the only two below it would be the two that I hated.
Yeah.
The one that was a horrible, horrible marketing ploy.
Well,
and the one that was a bit ableist.
I have developed some information on the Yu-Gi-Oh.
I don't care.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Don't care.
No, the card game actually came after the show. No, yeah, after the show.
Whatever.
So, like, people were learning the game. This is just an interesting tidbit that I thought I'd get on it. The people who were learning the game were learning it through the show. So when I said in my childhood, I remember learning the game through the show, that's how everyone was doing it. It wasn't just me being a weirdo.
Right, okay. Fair enough. But yeah, I didn't like that. Whereas I did like this. That's So Raven just pips it to the top 5 because of how strong its message was with regards to, prejudice is bad and going.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
High quality shows.
Yeah, I didn't hate this. In fact, I quite liked this.
I take it as a win if you've had to struggle and think about your top 5.
Yeah.
Like when SpongeBob and other shows have nearly beat Recess, I took them as a very good win because,
Recess is special.
Started off so high with Recess.
But no, I would not switch this off if it was in the background, but I don't think I'll go out my way to watch more.
Well, you're going to watch the sequel series, what?
I hope it's good, because the characters are great in this, and I think I'll enjoy the sequel by the looks of things.
Yeah, the Zack and Cody are older, London's in there, you meet some new characters as well who are quite interesting as well. You meet a Bailey.
A baby?
A Bailey, someone called Bailey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's she becomes the new Maddie, the like smart friend to London.
Right. Fair enough. But yeah, it was fun. I quite like that.
Glad you enjoyed it. Glad you enjoyed it. Are you glad you checked it out? Did you get it?
I do get it, yes.
Okay. Well, with that terrible joke, the luggage cart's here, so I'm just going to take my ride out.
So Fraser, do you want to know what we're doing next time?
I can't. I'm on the cart. Wait, I'm coming back. Let me roll back. What are we doing next time?
For fuck's sake. We are doing something that I think you will like.
Oh, I'm stepping off the cart.
Quite.
With intrigue.
It's claymation, and it's aimed at younger children, but I loved it as a kid. It's The Trapdoor.
Ah.
Have you heard of it?
No, but I'm aware of the concept of a trapdoor.
There is a trapdoor in The Trapdoor.
Oh, how does it compare to the one from Emperor's New Groove?
It's
the lever cronk!
It's very different.
Wrong lever!
It's very different. Say goodbye, Fraser.
Goodbye, Fraser. Right.
It's your episode. Do the fucking sign off properly.
Esteban. Yeah. Bring the cart over. Do you want to hop on?
No.
Thank you for listening. I'm going to hop on my cart and maybe check out another hotel. I wonder if the Tipton's got a wide range.
You can't just sign off with thank you for listening to Right in the Childhood. We'll see you next time, can you?
I'm off. I'm already gone. I'm on my cart. I'm off.
For fuck's sake.
I'm waving from a distance. You're just really good at sound editing that it sounds like I'm right next to you.
No one will believe that.
Right in the Childhood is a podcast brought to you by the We Made This Podcast Network. You can follow the show on Twitter at RITCpod. The show's creators and hosts are Fraser Summers and Mark Adams. Follow us on Instagram at SpiderPanInsta and at MarkAdamsHC. The show's logo was created by Carl Bryant, and the theme tune was composed by Colin Jackson Brown. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy the hit.
Hello everyone, this is Tony, Network Chief of We Made This. As you know, our podcast network brings together a brilliant assortment of talent who talk about all kinds of pop culture content, such as the episode you just listened to. We're not going anywhere, but we'd love to keep the lights on for even longer if you're able to support our network on Patreon. For just £2 a month, you get your name in lights and the satisfaction of knowing you're helping us produce more great audio. And for £3 a month, you'll get your name in lights, but you'll also get access to an exclusive bi-monthly podcast from the We Made This talent pool on podcasting, pop culture, and, well, you tell us. We'll take your suggestions. For less than the price of a coffee per month, you can help keep We Made This going. Just head to patreon.com/We Made This. That's patreon.com/We Made This. And get the ball rolling. Elsewhere on We Made This. The time is now. A Millennium podcast.
But no, I mean, I will say that Rise of the Machines also kind of like argues against
Terminator 2, of course.
Going back to where it was.
Like Rise of the Machines, like then goes, maybe they're both right, and shrugs its shoulders. It's like, maybe you can prevent Judgment Day, but only for a little while. And it's like, that's not an argument. Pick a side, pick a lane. You can either change the past or you can't. None of this wishy-washy. You can change it sometimes, but you can't really change it. So it all balances out. Yeah, no, pick a damn side.
Frame to frame.
So what Hitchcock said about the film was that Bernard Herrmann's score was 33% of the effect of the film. So as a result of that, he doubled his salary, which I don't know how he worked those maths out, but hey.
Exactly, yeah.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about the score?
I mean, it's one of the greatest scores ever composed for a film, and it's a fantastic example of misdirection, because you think that the jabbing, though it was written for a string-only orchestra, which is very unorthodox, because you think for a standard symphonic approach in a film score will mix tonalities from different host of instruments, strings, woodwinds, brass, percussion. This strips out everything except the strings, and the amount of emotional range that Bernard Herrmann is able to get out of it is really extraordinary.
Free with this month's issue.
You know what actually ruined it for them? That f***ing bass player with his stupid face.
Yes,
pulling his
absolutely.
stupid faces. Also, that weird, like, shaved-in parting that the singer had. Also.
If people knew a third song by Alien Ant Farm, this would have been it. Because this was on Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3.
That would be it. I know it from this CD and that, because I remember when one or the other happened, that the other had happened previously.
Yeah.
Good sentence, Ian. Well done. Like, he's got a good voice, that's the thing. He definitely likes Incubus.
Yeah. Glassjaw. He's
also that, yeah.
Actually, even more so, Head Automatica. He's basically, if somebody ordered Daryl Palumbo, but
from Wish,
but wanted extra annoyingness, then this is what they'd get.
Check out all of these shows and more on the We Made This podcast network.